I wasn't but nodded reluctantly. Slowly she revealed two identical gifts wrapped in pale pink paper with a bright pink ribbon. I gulped a thank you before taking the gift. I knew full well it wasn't going to be a normal boy's gift. Thanks, Mum, I said as I feigned interest in the boxed pair of white tights. My sister also thanked our mother, having also unwrapped the same. My stomach turned as I imagined not only having to wear the dress which Aunt May had given me, but now having to wear girls' underwear and girls' tights too. My face must have been colorless as I glanced from my mother to my sister and back again. Mum passed us both a sizable box, wrapped in the same pale pink paper, but sporting a big white bow. I pulled at the ribbon and let it drop before slowly attacking the paper. There's nothing more obvious than a shoebox, and in light of the current theme of my gifts, I feared the worst as I lifted the lid. Inside was a pair of girls' shoes in the same powder blue as my dress. They had a small heel and fastened by a simple blue ribbon which tied over the foot. They'll look lovely with your dress, Mum gushed as I removed the tissue. My sister had also unwrapped a similar pair of shoes in pink. I glanced at her as I removed one of mine. Snap, she smiled, removing one of hers. At least yours aren't pink, she added. Was all I could get out as I held one of my new shoes. Why am I getting all this stuff, Mum? I asked mournfully. To wear with your dress. Mum replied, it wouldn't look right if you wore your boy's shoes, would it? She winked at my sister. I was mortified as I stared at the heeled sandal in my hand. I guess not. And it wouldn't feel right without a nice pair of knickers underneath either. Mum added with a smile. I glanced at my sister who was grinning from ear to ear. Stop laughing at me, I snapped. I'm not laughing, she replied, I'm smiling. Why? I asked. Because if she'd bought you boys clothes, I'd have to wear this on my own. She frowned down on her very girly, very frilly, very pink dress. I'd much rather we both wore them than just me. I think if anybody finds out about this, I'm dead. I won't tell anybody, Susan replied. I'm only going to wear it for Aunt May and hopefully I'll never have to wear it again, she admitted before looking guiltily at our mother. They are a bit young for you both, and old-fashioned, Mum said, but then again so is Aunt May, she smiled. Okay, I said as my head sunk into my shoulders. As long as you both promise not to tell anybody. Mum and Susan looked at each other, nodded and smiled before both looking at me. Well, that's sorted then. Mum grinned. Are there any more presents? Susan asked. Let's have a look, shall we? Beneath the tree was still a small pile of gifts, all wrapped in girly wrapping paper. I suspected the worst, but the next gift was worse than that. A small satin handbag, inside which was a hairbrush, a selection of makeup including lipstick and eyeshadow, some perfume, some hair clips and a vanity mirror. Susan had the same, but in pink. Next was a large flat box each which was far lighter than I expected, almost weightless in fact. It's from Aunt May too. I gulped having read the label. Susan opened hers before me and exclaimed, oh my God, she held up a voluminous mass of translucent white fabric which floated effortlessly beneath her outstretched hands. What is it? I fearfully asked. It's a petticoat. Mum smiled as her hand disappeared into the numerous folds of floaty fabric. I responded with the blankest of expressions. I'd heard the term before but didn't have any idea what a petticoat actually was, or was for. I began to remove my petticoat from its box. What's a petticoat? I asked slowly, as if to delay the answer. Mum took it from me, stood up and held it to her waist. It's to wear under your dress. It holds the skirt out, she replied. She must think we're about 7. Susan stated, clearly shocked. She must think we're both girls, I added dryly. Susan sniggered. Then she made me promise I'd tell none of her friends about this either. Of course I promised.